Hear ye, hear ye. The Swolecast is back for week 3 of the 2024 season. We are a little battered, a little bruised, but you know what? We're not questionable. We're not doubtful. We're not just probable. We're going to do this thing. We're going to give you the answers. This is the first look show, and that's what we're about to do on this show is give you the best first look you've ever had in your life. That's what we're going to do on this Swolecast. So just like Darnell Mooney went off last night, this show is going to go off this week. To the moon, I say. It's a Swolecast on RotoGrinders. Let's do it.
Are you David Static from the Swolecast? I was like, yep, that's me.
I just want you guys to know I'm total dust. I'm the problem.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Leave it to the guy with the crypto dunes, Abby, to not understand context.
I should have known you getting 30 likes was directly written by someone else.
You know me, I don't do a ton of research before the show.
I've put no research into this. Don't know if it's true at all.
You're on the right show.
To it, bro. Live a little.
Live a little.
Just live a little, guys.
All right. Shout out to Rippin' and Sippin' says David looks extra creepy for some reason.
Dave, don't you get a little bit of a triggered response when you refer to the moon? You know, doesn't that bring a little moonbirds, little moon cats kind of vomit in the back of your throat? Or
brother, if we don't know where we're coming from, we don't know where we're going. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like we have to this is a first look show. This is a forward thinking show, but we also have to acknowledge our past. We're not erasing our past. Okay. It is a vital part of the show, all the fabric of the show, 11 years strong. Shout out to everyone that left positive comments last week. We would encourage you to do that again this week. Leave comments, like your likes are appreciated, and subscribe because we are on the road to 10K subs and we're getting there slowly.
Do you think
it's a DeAndre Swift grind to get there, but we're getting there.
We're negative 44 rushing yards over expectation here on the show.
I read through some of the comments last week. Do you think the YouTube algorithm can detect sarcasm for all the people who said the show is entertaining and informative?
No.
I hope not.
Pete, are you losing your voice in week 3?
Already? Dude, I've been sick, man. Yeah, it's been a rough week. I went to bed at 9 last night with some NyQuil and woke up at 8 in a fog. And we're battling through it right now.
Honestly, your voice sounds as sexy as it's ever been.
Guess I should get sick more often then, Dave.
We want to acknowledge the absence of Mr. Tuttle 05. And also just say, RIP to some of these best ball teams out there, and not just best ball teams, but survivor leagues. Listen, if you've been playing the first couple of weeks of survivor tournaments, you might be among the 60% that's out. No, this is what I'll say. So, not to fret though. You got week 3 already starting Survivor contest on Splash Sports. So splashsports.com/RotoGrinders to compete against RotoGrinders experts and our community in another Survivor Revival tournament this week. And there's also a NFL DFS Pick Em and Fantasy Tiers contest. So. Splashsports.com.
I might drive over to Illinois. To join this, honestly.
It's pretty cool. And last week it filled. So splashsports.com/RotoGrinders.
I had a call with the guy with Splash Sports. I just want to support the guys from Splash Sports there. I had a call.
This is where Davis tries to his promo code.
You're not
I don't
code or anything else.
Absolutely not. I just want to say they're cool guys. The guy I had a call with went to high school with Mac Miller. He saw my skateboard in the background. He was like, dude, I knew him way back when. So I had a cool conversation with those guys.
Okay, Davis, we get it. You're talking to everybody. You're repping everybody. We get it. All right.
Ricky Bobby, baby.
Let's set the table because we're going to feast this week. Last week, in the community contest, the Listener League contest, which is free to join, we finished 69th. which is
That
nice.
is a massive improvement. That is a huge improvement.
Out of 82, though. Out of 82. Seems like Pete's 80 Mitchell call did not exactly raise the banner for us.
I'll save my comments for the Overzets Overview. Although, do you want to let the people know the behind the scenes little turmoil about the Swolecast participation in the Better Collective?
We got lectured, guys. Miles wants to know how we can find the Listener League, Dave.
There'll be a link in the video description. And remember, if you win first, you get a month free of combo premium on RotoGrinders. So yeah, we're entering the lineup that we create on the show in this league. And we are a first look show. So there's a little bit of, like Pete said, a little bit of turmoil, a little bit of stuff behind the scenes, because last place was supposed to have some sort of punishment. Honestly, did not really think too much about it. And we did not do the punishment last week. I'm open to punishment ideas. It's tough to do a clown costume turnaround on 24 hours notice was my only thing. And Pete,
you guys don't have a prop closet like me. I can just go and pull that, red, nose right out of the.
You got it ready to go.
Exactly. Forward-looking show though. So let's set the table, because we're going to feast this week. It's the Overzets Overview for week 3.
He's got that dog in her butt. He's got that dog in her butt. Overzets Overview. Come on.
All right. As Dave mentioned, our week 2 Swolecast lineup in the Game Day Greatness presented by DoorDash series, as well as the internal Better Collective contest, did not do well. In the DoorDash contest, it finished in 45,474th place. Dave tried to slam me for our 80 Mitchell pick, but the worst pick was actually Soccer Dave's Titans defense scoring 2 points. Dave, so don't try to twist that.
They need to your chart, man.
I was directionally accurate. I was directionally.
What was
accurate.
Alec Pierce crushed again. I mean, it's basically the 80 Mitchell play. So the entire league is injured right now. Season-long bros are in their feels, wondering why they didn't just take pickleball up as a hobby instead. Everyone's really sad, but look on the bright side. The meaningless bet that Davis and I made with his Carson Steele versus my Cam Akers really heated up this week. So
I got to be like minus 150 to win this now. Mixon's gonna play.
Here's the thing, man. Akers is going to give me a little of a PPR scam. Caught a pass. What did he have? 32 yards. I'm ready to go to battle with this one. In kind of more somber news, there was another assassination attempt of Donald Trump this week. Davis saw the news and did what he always does during times like this, fire up a fantasy football stream. Soccer Dave did what he always does during times like this and muttered to himself, "This is why every caddy in America needs a gun." I was really excited about that.
Holster on the cart. Machine gun stand. Machine gun turret in the back of the golf cart.
Oh, God.
The boys in blue would have handled this one. All right. Mr. Tuttle 05 made it 2 episodes into the season before bailing on us to make UCL projections. Literally whatever that means. I still don't know. When you first hear this excuse, you kind of just buy it. It's part of his job, just unfortunate timing. We can make do. But then you really start to think about it, and it doesn't pass the sniff test. There's like 4 people out there playing UCL. There's more people leaving comments on this YouTube video about how we don't get to football fast enough than playing UCL. Can I talk to someone at Big Better Collective and wrestle Tuttle back for this show?
Hey, Dan Bach is your guy. He's the boss.
Dan, I'm talking to you right now. All right. Listen to me, Dan. It's unfair to the viewers. And it's unfair to me. It's unfair to Dave. It's unfair to Davis, who all have to collectively shoulder an extra load of 60 to 70 seconds of total airtime every time he's out. Okay. I'm sick right now. I don't have an extra 20 seconds in me. I'm going to start asking for a 1.0001x multiplier on my hourly rate if Tuttle is not here. There's one juicy game this week, Cardinals versus Lions, 52.5 point total. Probably going to end up being the highest total on the year. Saints Eagles looks fine too, 49.5, because Derek Carr is now apparently Tom Brady. I have not looked at a single salary on DraftKings.com because I take this first look shit very seriously. Back to you, Dave.
All right. We are first looking on the show. The first look show got even first looks here. So let's just talk just a little bit about what happened last week with all these injuries, right? Like, let's just address the elephant in the room. People are looking at me as kind of the best ball thought leader. And yes,
they're wondering why DeAndre Hopkins is running less routes than Treylon Burks. Is that sort of?
Yes. And DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, and Cooper Kupp are my top 3 wide receivers. Not great, right? The number
now, Dave,
number of passing touchdowns the first 2 weeks also not great. Having these backup running backs on these teams of backup running backs that I did draft not be the same ones, also not great. That just means one thing. I've got to ship a DFS contest. That's all it means, is I've got to get back to my DFS roots. And so that's why I'm excited.
In the
Team Ramrod, Team Farva, we're doing
Are you
it.
in the Battle Royale streets, Dave?
I'm not in the Battle Royale streets.
It could be, honestly. I mean this wholeheartedly. Your particular approach to fantasy sports, of all the games allowed right now, probably best suited to that format, honestly.
I don't know. I was really close. Team SimLabs, I was really close on Sunday night to shipping something.
SimLabs again with the Dimes Neighbors as their was the number 2 stack. I was again running stuff on Sunday morning. I said, let's see what SimLabs has for us. And I said, let's pull it up. And I said, I bet you guys Daniel Jones is going to be the number 3 most optimal quarterback. And he was the number 2. And their highest SimLab rated lineups were all Neighbors. Dimes.
And Wandell got there too. So just a benefit to everybody.
8.8 points. He
got
let's not
He got the anytime touchdown. But yes, it is the Neighbors show. I don't even want to mention Neighbors, though. I told our little best ball with Cal and Dan and Bime for and Cam that, like, I don't even want to mention Neighbors' name because I feel like I'm going to jinx him. But it was a good week. It was a good week for that last week.
If Daniel Jones can't jinx Malik Neighbors, you can't. We're okay.
There we go. All right. We are going to give, each one of us are going to give a Tuttle's terrible take in honor of Tuttle. And yeah, we hope to get the fellow back on the show ASAP. And if he does come on, we also had some requests for like college football or early props that he can give us for like Underdog Pick Em. So we'll try to get that as well. Let's get into this week's games. And let's start with a game that is supposed to be sort of close. And this is different than what I would have expected. Saints and Eagles.
I mean, everyone just wants to talk about Derek Carr. You can't listen to
Davis. Let me tell you this.
Please tell me.
All 15 possessions for the Saints, they have scored.
Someone saw the Bleacher Report.
Did you know that?
I did know that because I have a Twitter account.
Oh,
I mean, guys, I get it. I'm just as enthused about the Derek Carr experience as everyone else, but it the breathless praise of Clint Kubiak and Derek Carr. It's. I'm not saying they deserve their plaudits, but what I would like to see is one other team take note and start to do something innovative. I would like for
how about the Jags? How about the fucking Jags?
How about Shane Waldron? How about the Bears, buddy? How about the Bears do something?
Waldron's a lost cause.
Yeah, I think he probably is. I think you're right. I think I'm writing. I said this yesterday. I think I'm writing off every Bear other than DJ Moore. I think every Bear other than DJ Moore is just.
When Keenan's back in the lineup, he's going to vacuum up targets. I mean, he had 11 targets week 1.
No, so he did, but I'm wondering if the offense can even be.
Why are we
efficient
full
enough.
on kitchen right now?
I think probably I think because Keenan is just I don't think very good anymore.
Come on.
You don't know that, Davis.
That's why I said I
What do you
think.
mean? You can say he's injury prone. That you can definitely go there. You can't say he's not good anymore. He had 11 targets in his first game.
Yeah, and Adunze had a wide open touchdown that he did like alligator arms on. Like,
And people,
Yeah.
I will say, people were really Adunze stands were very protective of not calling him this year's JSN with all the similarities. Third, wide receiver in a Shane Waldron offense. It's looking a lot like the JSN arc for Rome
Yes.
this year.
He is getting routes. And he doesn't have.
So is JSN.
He doesn't have the same average depth of target stuff.
Sure.
And also, it's been 2 games for Caleb. Like I'm trying not to be the guy like that Leone is like castigating to in his tweets, like too overreactive. But yeah, it feels pretty brutal, man. It feels pretty brutal.
I'm not worried about Caleb's like talent. It's just
No,
Waldron and how he's going to operate. This offense is pretty scary. By the way, are we a game by game show now? We're not
what's going on?
No. We're just kind of setting the table. I just wanted to talk about that. Also, we have Pete. Your cries were heard last week. We have 5. Count them. 5 afternoon games on Sunday.
Yeah, it's really nice.
So that is nice for Davis. Who do I swap to? Questions that we will inevitably get. But yeah,
if I would have swapped last week, I would have been rich. The lesson is always swap. Is always swap.
Did not see that that beatdown coming for the Rams. Let's talk though about games that we are looking forward to.
Well, I'd like to actually talk DFS for a second and something that might be actionable towards people viewing this show later on in the week, and really more towards Peter, someone who kind of plays the game. With basically half of the offenses in the NFL being completely eliminated from mattering for fantasy, Pete, how are you responding to that in terms of ownership stuff? Like, is Nico Collins being 21%, Trey McBride being 14, like things like this, like offenses that are actually interested in scoring points? Are you basically just saying because the Cleveland Browns have 0 fantasy relevant players, because the Pittsburgh Steelers have 0 fantasy relevant players, are we treating ownership differently?
I mean, I think probably in like the small field stuff, right? Where it's just like the benefit of like hitting that one off where it's like, okay, Amari Cooper could go for, like where Amari Cooper could go for 30 points, or you could just onslaught the Cardinals and play McBride, Marvin Harrison, and Greg Dortch. And it's like, sure, you might miss on Dortch that game, but you'd rather just be heavily correlated on one of these good offenses.
I think that, so like,
I also like, I think some of this stuff is going to balance out, the map.
That's what I was going to say. How much are we overreacting to as far as how much are we like reacting?
In my opinion,
trends?
That's the most like, it is not an overreaction at all to say that this is a completely different offensive environment. Like, watch the Browns play, watch the Bears play, watch the Steelers play, watch the Broncos play, watch the Titans play, watch all these teams. They are drawing dead to be, they're not passing enough, and when they do pass, they're passing very poorly.
Yeah, but it's like, even with the Broncos, who I couldn't be lower on, we're still talking about a rookie quarterback. Like there's so many things. We got to give some of these teams and offenses chances to acclimate to new variables.
Who would be an offense that has been asked so far that you're saying, it's basically just preseason for them, they'll be better?
So like, here's one for you. Like, I think the Colts can be like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde team.
Yes,
like, I think they will look absolutely awesome. And then they can be in the dome this week, like home for Chicago, and drop 40. And I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I think we're going to see a lot of yo-yoing like that.
Yeah. I mean, the Chiefs definitely have not looked that good. They like, Mahomes keeps throwing these awful interceptions, Steele with the fumble. Like that is one where I'm like, I feel pretty confident Andy is going to be able to figure stuff out. But like the Jets are a team where I'm like, there's just no hope here. Like, this is absolutely who they are. It's whatever.
I disagree. I disagree.
Well, yeah, the Titans
Davis?
defense, really locked them down.
Well, they did. They did. The Titans defense, the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL through 2 weeks. So they actually did a good job. Of course, you had those late second half touchdowns, but I think that Wilson and Brees are still going to go off. Like, that's not indicative. That game 2 was not indicative of the rest of their season. Now,
Well,
I do think you have to look at other
just
teams.
Respectfully, Garrett Wilson is not Justin Jefferson. Like, look at the difference in production between what Sam Darnold did versus the 49ers.
That's where, but we just will
did.
disagree. That's where I think you're overreacting a little bit. I do think, like, the Colts situation, you can't trust a Colts receiver, right? Like, you're just throwing darts. You can't trust a Colts receiver this year. You probably can't trust a Bills receiver this year. We do have to take into some considerations of Davis, like what you said, these offenses, like, it's like historically low in recent production as far as like passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, some of these teams, like, they're just not fantasy relevant. So with that being said, we do have some fun games on tap. And so we'll get into the fun games. We'll talk about quarterbacks and we'll make lineups, but let me mention some of these games out there. Cardinals and Lions, late hammer game, should be a fun game.
David loves the late hammer.
Yes. Saints and Eagles, what we just talked about. Dallas and Baltimore could be a potentially fun game, right? And then Rams and Niners
not
might be
anymore.
not a fun
Or
game.
best players.
Yeah, that
might
game
be like
that
a
game.
relevant game as far as like figuring out who's going to actually catch passes.
Maybe the Debo injury actually is kind of a godsend for 1 week for that game, just because if Debo's playing, the 49ers do the same thing to the Rams that the Cardinals just did. They're up 21-0 before Stafford's had a chance to take a breath. But without Debo, the maybe it's just more competitive. Maybe the Rams actually play for 4 quarters. All
right. And Malik Willis playing against his old team, the Titans. So not exactly a fun game.
Okay, we're shitting on all these coaches, but what a game plan from LaFleur, dude. LaFleur putting his team in a position to win without a quarterback who can't play. That was incredible stuff.
Granted, it involved giving Josh Jacobs the ball 36 times. But
did you see the question about why he didn't throw a pass? And it was because
did you just say Malik Willis is my quarterback?
The center threw up on the ball.
The center threw up on the ball right before he snapped it.
That is the most normie David Kitchen. Like, David saw that and he was like, dude, I can't wait to read about this in the Barstool newsletter tomorrow.
Boy, you're really setting yourself up to get attacked by the stool.
In my mind, all the information you get is from the For You page and from whatever alt-right newsletters you're signed up for. Like, that is
I don't sign up to any alt-right. I don't sign up to any politics newsletters. You're way more into politics than I am.
I finally found something though where I am on Team Stooley. Go Prez go in that best ball contest.
Absolutely. Dave Portnoy winning the 10K would be elite.
That's how I need it so bad.
Yeah.
The week 1 screenshot where he's on top and Herzig's on bottom was just chef's kiss right there.
Herzig should have tried to get him into the bet again. Herzig should have been like, come on, dude, let's do it.
Do respond post haste.
Okay, quarterbacks. Let's do it.
Oh, 25 minutes into the show.
Yes.
All right, well,
oh, by the way, we did not have timestamps last week.
Sosa, we literally announced them for you as they happened last week.
Guys, this is his Monday. Come on,
Guys, I literally did put the the timestamps in. What are you talking about?
Or maybe
you're not putting this in the mail. Listen, we need
timestamps. I put them in. Boo.
Right.
Here's a big question. Is CJ Stroud actually not going to throw enough? Like, is Slowick going to keep the passing volume low enough that despite Stroud being one of the few quarterbacks in the NFL who can generate fantasy points with his arm, he actually is probably not going to be super DFS optimal because they're not going to let him throw 40 passes?
Well, not to mention this Minnesota defense just gave Brock Purdy absolute fits
Well,
too.
Pumpkin Purdy, they're calling him.
God, Davis.
Defense matters.
You don't want to give
doesn't it?
defense any credit for Brock. You're ready to just pile on Brock is the issue.
Well, I'm ready to pile on Brock at any time. But Brian Flores, I will say this is one ball thing I do know is that Brian Flores is one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL. That he just absolutely makes things miserable on
That's
quarterbacks.
literally what I just said, and you said, "Well, it's Brock Purdy's fault."
Well, it's more fun. It's more fun to say Pumpkin Purdy.
Jalen Hurts. He's back. He's back to being like in the smash column, right? Like he's 7.3.
Too cheap.
I will make 5 teams this week-ish. I've been making like 5 or 6 teams in these single entry. I don't know if I'll make a Hurts, honestly.
Really? What? But why?
The offense
do you
looks
not
a
like
lot
rushing
worse.
quarter's? Do you not like 2022 Jalen Hurts?
So that's the
what we're
thing.
getting.
I think if I'm gonna play the rusher, I'm gonna go Lamar because I like Lamar's stacking options better. Lamar's stacking options will be cheaper. You can play Lamb, although I guess I like Olave as a bring back too. To me, I think the conversation starts and ends with Kyler. I think Kyler probably is the best fantasy quarterback now.
He has to end up being the most popular this week, right? Kyler coming off of a monster
game.
Yeah,
absolutely.
To the Konami. Yeah.
But who do you stack him with right now? Who
you go back to McGronk. You go to McGronk.
I think you're right. I prefer that. But I think he'll split some with Laporta right there on Kyler teams. And obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. at 7,400. I mean, he's gonna get played quite a bit as well.
So I'm on Team Hurts. You're on Team Kyler. Pete, who are you on? Like, who's a kind of expensive quarterback, a smash play you think is going to be this week?
Yeah, I mean, if those are my choices, I'm leaning Kyler, but I just have a feeling I'm not.
No, like you can
Kyler.
You can bring your own choice into this mix.
I appreciate that, Kitchen. Yeah. No, I would definitely be on Kyler. It's the best game. He's at home. But he might be like 20% in small field, would just be my guess at this rate.
You're not concerned about Aiden Hutchinson? Just talking about.
Oh, I wasn't until you just said it. I did.
I mean, if you want to do the galaxy brain, playing against an insanely good edge rusher is actually good for Kyler for fantasy because it's going to make him run.
Yeah. There you go. All right. So
here's a better question.
Okay.
David, of course, opens the show talking about Derek Carr. Derek Carr is $5,800. Hasn't ended.
Don't try to throw me under the bus. Don't try to throw me under the bus because you want to talk about Carr, not me. Don't say David.
I'll tell you this.
David says everyone wants to talk about Carr. I'm ready to talk about more elevated subjects, and then smash cut. Let's talk about Derek Carr.
Well, I'll say this: I'm very unlikely to play a David Carr or a Derek Carr lineup in daily fantasy contests on DraftKings.com. Do you think that is bad or good, Peter?
It's it's all going to come down to how popular is he going to be? Is it going to be the fields now? Like this happened twice, and so the slappies are just like, I believe in Derek Carr now.
He'll be at
as
least
popular as you think.
At least 8%.
Yeah, and probably too, right? Like there's not a ton jumping out sub 6K at quarterback this week either.
Gino is my guy.
Gino's a good one. Yeah, I mean, Gino's played 2 really good games against somewhat stingy defenses, and now home versus Miami. I like that call.
Okay, Justin Fields versus the Chargers.
How many plays? How many? Is that game done? Is that game done in 90 minutes?
Dude, did you see the totals? So implied to the Steelers 18.75. It's to 16.75. Jesus.
All right. Let me give a gross take.
Okay. You just called that a take.
Caleb Williams at 5,600.
No interest.
Against this Indy team that just got carved up by Malik Willis.
To the tune of 9 fantasy points. Did Malik Willis get double-digit fantasy points?
As far as on the run. Like, they weren't going to let Malik Willis throw. but he did get some rushing yards. So let's factor that in. And let's just say it. Like he's like this defense he's going up against in Indianapolis is not compared to like the past two defenses he played. This is Caleb Williams' coming out party.
All right, I'll give you this. I don't think it's going to happen this week, but there will be a week this year where Caleb will go, 370 yards and 4 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns or whatever, and getting in front of that will feel great. So I'm not gonna dismiss.
They're gonna make some adjustments this week. The Texans,
Shane Waldron
Shane Waldron's gonna adjust.
They blitzed like 90% of the snaps like an unprecedented number of snaps the Texans did. They're gonna make some adjustments. I've got faith, and Caleb Williams is going to have a nice little game on Sunday. Any other guys that you like on Sunday?
I mean, I do think we should probably talk about Sam Darnold, who's just been absolutely dealing. Home versus Houston, could have to push it a little bit more. Sounds like Jefferson's going to be fine.
5 for 32 as a rusher last week.
Do you think we could get Addison back? What's the timeline on him?
If Addison practices this week and feels good, I'm more into it. Sounds like the team is hoping he will be available. So that is, I think, there. I'm not going to engage in the Andy Dalton discourse. Something I learned when Bryce Young got benched is apparently everyone I follow on Twitter was just drafting Deontay Johnson all off season, which that was a real scale from the eyes moment for me. That seemed crazy.
Well, it is a huge bailout for Deontay Johnson.
I don't even know, man.
Relative to what he was getting,
sure.
The entire offense is getting a bailout. I mean, it couldn't have gotten any worse with Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Up only.
Dave,
okay.
Dave, how much Bryce Young on DraftKings? More Bryce Young or more Russ Wilson?
Oh, Russ Wilson for sure. I also got plenty of Fields, but I don't think either of them matter, really.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
I was just going to say, someone sent me a screenshot of, I think it was one of the crypto NFT guys, his 150 max, and he had 42% Bryce Young in BBM. It was a rough day yesterday.
Yeah.
Tough.
My thing was, I don't know if you remember, I said earlier this season, like the one guy that scares me that I have 0 of was Alvin Kamara. And
pretty much the same. And it doesn't feel that good.
That will do it.
Remember when Davis asked you if you play in the battle royales? That is the beauty. Like I had 0.
Yes.
I had a ton of Alvin Kamara last week. It's like you get back even on these season long fades.
All right. Can I mention one more game? Giants and Browns.
Did you watch the Browns last week?
I mean, a little bit.
Oh my God.
First half was not terrible.
No, dude, it is beyond bad. It's like Elijah Moore is getting these like 3.2 ADOT targets. It is painful.
What is the legit over under for Jameis? Like the week. What week are we looking at? It has to be soon.
They won last week.
They're 1-1.
Yeah, it's not that soon. You got NFL people are prideful people, and Deshaun Watson is making $1 bazillion. It's not as imminent as people on Twitter want you to think.
I wonder though, like if you interviewed people in the front office, you gave the Browns front office people true serum and said, like, do you think Deshaun Watson is your week 1 starting quarterback in 2025? Or what that answer would be.
It depends on how close they were to the decision. If the closer they were to the decision, the more they're like, oh yeah, it'll figure out. And then the further away they were from the decision, they're like, yeah, we'd like to get rid of him.
All right, let's build a team on DraftKings.com. Peter, tell us where this team is being entered in, other than the Listener League, which you can find the link in our description.
Let me go to the lobby here.
Oh, no.
Let me go to classic. Let me filter by $0 entry fee. All right. Oh no.
While Pete's looking for that, are you or someone you know dying to go to the Taylor Swift Eras Tour? Well, you can play our free-to-play game every week for a chance to win 2 tickets and a trip to Vancouver. Check out the link in the description to play for free and watch this short video in the description.
Am I eligible?
Don't let the Chads, Brads, and Dads have all the fun this football season with their parlays and their fantasy team. You can have fun too by playing Tix Pick 6, and you'll have a chance to win a trip for 2 to the Eras Tour in Vancouver. And the best part, it's totally free. So here's the deal. Each week, you'll make 6 picks. 2 of them will be about Taylor, like who's going to be in the suite with her that game. The other 4 will be about the Chiefs game, and it's designed to teach you the basics of sports betting. So who will cover the spread, or will Travis score a touchdown? You earn points for every right answer, and those points turn into entries into the grand prize drawing. You can win up to 13 points a week. Don't know anything about sports betting? Don't worry. I've got you. Each week I break it all down in a preview article so you can make more informed choices. You must be 21 plus and in the US to enter. For more, check out tixpick6.actionnetwork.com.
Let's get to the feet.
Did you know that was coming, Dave, or was that a Sosa special?
No, I knew that was coming, but I didn't know it was like that.
I thought there was going to be a link in the description that pointed to the 50-second video. Pete, tell us where
that lady talked more on Swolecast than Tuttle would have if he was here.
Tell us where this lineup is going to be entered.
That ad did buy me a lot of time to find it. Game day greatness presented by DoorDash shares. There are 3 free rolls with $5,000 in total prizes, except the DoorDash is tossing in those gift cards. So you're actually getting a little bit better EV on your free entry here. So yeah, we're running it back until someone wins. You guys got to let us know in the chat. If you end up winning one of these gift cards from DoorDash, you got to let us know.
All right. Let's get to this lineup though. It's 11:38 and we still haven't gone on to running back. So let's make this a quickie. And Davis, we'll start with you.
All right, I'll take McGronk. Trey McBride, $6,200 at home against the Detroit Lions. Where do I get my ideas? Easy.
All right.
Okay.
In the land of elite tight end being dead, we thumb our nose at that presupposition. Oh, fine. I'll just stack it up with Kyler.
Ooh, I was going to do a Caleb Williams, DJ Moore.
I know, and that's why I had to get out in front of you.
Yeah,
doing
that was
Pete.
there. That was thinking. That was thinking.
Guys, I've let you both be kind of the engineers, the lead dog on this lineup in the Listener League. Eventually you're going to have to let me Andy Dalton this, right? You're going to have to let me lead and see if we can produce some.
Well, right now you're the Bryce Young of this lineup.
No,
exercise.
You're the Bryce Young.
No, you're the Bryce Young.
No, you are.
No, you are.
No, you are.
All right. Let's boy, if I could, I'm gonna need one of you to figure out what we're doing with this Rams passing sitch. But let's go ahead and do we just
you want to do a defense, Dave? I was kind of a safe pick for you.
Yeah. Not last week. It was not. Let's get back to Achane as the go-to guy.
David panicking and then actually making a good selection
the best pick
was
this is what you get with me, like scrambling around the pocket, make a good pick. All right.
You are Bryce Young. No. Back to Davis.
Davis.
All right. I will do our Rams cheapie. I think one of these guys is going to come preloaded. You know, some people there's bad people on both sides of this. Like the worst people, in the world are the people who feel really strongly about this. I am going to take Tyler Johnson for $4,700 on DraftKings.com.
All right.
Okay, we'll talk about Johnson in a second. Pete?
Yeah, I want to go with, I think he's probably going to end up being really popular, but I think he's just an awesome play. It's Tank Dell. His route participation, everything is all there. Would narrowly.
Davis just said they don't want to score.
Trust me, Tank Dell.
That's not what I said. Here's
you
the
did
thing.
say that.
We are dangerously close to making a good lineup. So Dave, I need you to fuck it up.
You want to wear a clown
Malik
costume next week, Dave?
Neighbors. Just get him the ball. Like,
you know what? On the
He's
kitchen scale, completely fine.
he is still way too cheap.
All right, Pete.
No, it's what was yours? Oh, Tyler.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
back to you, right?
Yeah.
You started
yeah.
us. Yeah.
All right. So now we do need to try and save some money. I will I'll let Dave do it. I'm gonna take the Vikings defense. I'm gonna take the Vikings defense.
Okay.
Wow.
So we are left with 5,600 each. For running back and flex, Pete.
Yeah, let's see here. So we can spend a little bit of money. Yeah,
There's just not really a great cheap
5,600.
running back unless Kenneth
honestly,
Walker doesn't.
let's just get even on this. Let's play Kamara.
Oh, I was gonna say Mason. Kamara's fine though.
Yeah, it puts us, I guess, in a little bit of a
chalk. But he is cheaper.
Yeah, we're gonna have to save a little bit of money, I guess.
Yeah. Do we want to do Mason or do we want to stick with Kamara?
Let's do Mason.
We can do Mason. I didn't realize that put us in such a salary bind.
Yeah, it would have been 3,700. All right, a flex play under 5K. Last week I gave the recommendation Jameson Williams in that flex. Paid off, I guess. Let's go.
There are a couple of guys here.
The stick part of me kind of wants to go back to the Andrews. Well,
I was gonna Dave. That was who I thought looked good. Was Andrews.
Okay, let's do it.
Wow, look at us, dude. Kyler Murray.
Wow, we're going double.
I love it.
Yeah.
Kitchen, how are you feeling about the likely bags after a second?
Listen, likely was never a week 1 or week 2 guy, right? Week 1 was just a bonus. But yeah, honestly, the Andrews bags, I have a few of those. Those are looking even heavier until the second half of that game. What are the Ravens doing? I hope they that was a bad loss for them. All right. Running backs. Let's talk about it. We got Mason, we got Achane, we got Kamara. Davis, you just mentioned not a lot of cheapy running backs, not a lot of gimme plays on the running back side. So what are we doing here?
No, they priced all the gimmies. They priced all the gimmies up. Although there'll be a real inflection point if Joe Mixon doesn't play. Pierce is 4.8. Akers is 4.7. Pierce was out injured last week. We'll see if he's able to be back. That's probably. I mean, that's just unknowable on a Tuesday. Barkley, pains me to say this, but Barkley at 7,700 as a fake sharp leverage play on Kamara. What will his ownership?
A little bit of narrative
Kamara
too after losing the game last night. Maybe he wants back in. Maybe wants to prove himself.
I will probably play Mason on every team, just like I did last week. Ted Nguyen, great football writer for The Athletic. He did a breakdown of the literal one carry that Isaac Urendo got and was like, this is why Kyle Shanahan is not letting this dude play. He made like 4 mistakes on one play and then immediately went back to the bench. I think we're basically just going to get 20 rushes, like no pass game involvement from him every single week, more or less, which is still at 6,200 in this spot, a good play.
All right. What about the running backs in this Detroit-Arizona game, Pete?
I was just going to say James Conner is a smash. He's just his workload is as good as it gets. I mean, he should be priced up like at 7.5 probably. Like I just think he's probably, especially when you consider this game environment. I guess I'm a little more indifferent on the Lions, it's basically entered into that territory now, like the Niners, right? Where everyone always feels like slightly overpriced because the floors now are pretty low because there's so many superstars in the offense. And it's like, one or two of the guys is going to go nuke, but then the other guys are just going to have a very low chance of paying off their tag, as opposed to offenses like the Dolphins or the Rams when they're super concentrated and you're like, I know the floor ceiling is pretty good here. So I don't know. Montgomery and Gibbs are hard at those price tags to me, I think.
Gibbs, I feel really good about. Gibbs, I think he trends up. I mean, his snaps trended way up in last week, which is what you'd expect. You'd think Montgomery is going to smash when they're way up. When the game is in doubt, Gibbs is going to play a ton. Now, the Jameson Williams stuff applies just as much to him as it does to Sam Laporta, where it's like the fact that Jameson Williams is a real piece of the offense now trends his floor down. But Gibbs is, it's funny. Like, we definitely all take A-Chain straight up over Gibbs in fantasy now. But Gibbs is kind of the same style of bet where it's like, yeah, maybe he only gets 13 touches sometimes, but twice a year, he's going to be so efficient that he super gets there on 13 touches.
It makes, to me, of all the guys, like I agree. I think Gibbs and both those guys are playable. I think Laporta, we need a price adjustment on his salary right now to be playable. I just don't think Laporta at 6K, the way, obviously the ceiling's still there, but the chances of him reaching that ceiling are now way down.
Yes.
Pass on Josh Jacobs this week. J.K. Dobbins, though, is that too gross of a game? I don't know. I still don't feel like I'm there with his price tag at Pittsburgh, but you can't, the normies are going to see 20 plus points in the game logs and want to play him.
He also saw what we were all hoping for was he comes off a 13 carry game. They see how ass Gus Edwards is. And it's like, what if they give Dobbins 5 more touches? And that's exactly what they did.
Yep.
Yeah.
This price tag is 6'4". I think it's fine. I mean, he's good, man. He's ripping off
He's
explosive
really good.
plays.
Literally, as we were just doing that diatribe, one of my friends in my home league just sent me Chris Olave for J.K. Dobbins, and I accepted it.
Wow.
But I accepted it. But honestly, after clicking accept, I'm like, shit, I don't know, man. J.K. Dobbins is kind of him. So.
What about Singletary?
See, I think, Dave, we know enough now about DFS to know that, I mean, I guess it's in the context of what you're building. But something
I'm just saying, if you mention J.K. Dobbins, you kind of have to mention Singletary as well.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess the thing that's not comparable to me is just what J.K. Dobbins is doing from an explosive run perspective is, Singletary is going to be the workman, right? He's going to have similar touches. I just don't think he has the yards per carry upside.
I'm actually looking. Famed fantasy expert content creator in Harditz just tweeted out RB yards after contact and missed tackles forced per carry in 2024. J.K. Dobbins and Devin Singletary absolutely balling like we all expected.
Yeah.
So
neither
his
catching.
rush share was 94% last week.
Yeah.
That is just a lot. You kind of have these offenses that are starting to concentrate. Giants, we know what they're going to do. It's two players.
I'd rather play Tony Pollard.
Okay, so Tajay Spears, something. Yeah, go ahead, Pete.
Well, yeah, for what I said, I agree with Kitchen. He says, go ahead, Pete. The Dobbins and Singletary are similar plays in that they're really low team total bets that are road dogs in gross game environments who are also not going to catch a ton of passes. So you really need those guys not to be catching a lot of ownership to play them. If those guys either is over 10%, I think they become very dicey plays.
Heard that. Tony Pollard, Davis, want to get back to your point. Tajay Spears, did get a little banged up last week.
I mean, I think Spears is basically almost irrelevant because they're just playing Tajay Spears.
Well, if he's out, though, right? If he's out,
well, honestly,
that's going
Pollard's
to
a
benefit
worse
Pollard.
play. He's a worse play if he's out because then Pollard is the best cheap running back. Like right now in battle royales, he's going as like the running back 12. If Spears,
we just got to get Will Levis to stop doing dumb stuff, and also offensive line. The new picks doing great.
Are you at all concerned that your new right tackle is now Pete's coworker at fantasylife.com? Is that how do you feel about that?
I wasn't sure if we would bring that up.
I love is this like the people who are in Jack's? There were people yelling at Marlon Humphrey that they need to cancel Jack's podcast with him because guys can't do a podcast on their off day.
Yeah.
No, correct. I think this has to do with the Titans everyone else allowed 1 to 2 pressures. He allowed 9 pressures on Sunday. So does NPF, he's not exactly the most popular guy in town. I'll say that. If he could increase his play while also increasing his takes for Fantasy Life, that would be a win-win for all fantasy enthusiasts. I'll say that. We'll keep it nice. Let's move on to receivers. 52-minute mark.
Did Davis say he had a hard out today?
Yeah. I mean, it's relatively hard, right, Davis?
I mean, you tell Brian and Nerdy Tenor their time is.
Then I will tell them it's not that hard. It's a flaccid out.
All right, receiver.
Jackson, Smith, and Jigba.
Oh,
hang on.
Boy.
Do you want Davis can stay as long as he wants if I just do this?
Dan's keyboard. I just don't understand. I do not understand how his keyboard possibly gets that loud. But yes, Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. And how about this? How about in the next 8 minutes we solve world peace and we figure out which Rams wide receiver is going to score the most fantasy points this week against the 49ers.
I'm up for this challenge.
Okay. You mentioned not Whittington. You mentioned
I'm Tyler Johnson.
Tyler Johnson, famed Bucks receiver Tyler Johnson. And
you know where he went?
Also
you know
Robinson.
Where he went to college, Dave?
Tyler Johnson? Of course I do.
You know who his college teammates were?
Yeah.
Might have heard of him. Rashad Bateman, Brevin Spann-Ford.
This is here. I'm going to give a nuanced take. I know this is a DFS show. I agree. I think Tyler Johnson's the best play this week. I think Jordan
for DFS.
For DFS, I think Whittington has the most upside.
Whittington is the best waiver wire ad.
Yes, exactly. Whittington on waivers, Ty Joe in DFS. 2-2, rest in peace, a short king.
Whittington was not even playing until Kupp had gotten hurt. Tyler Johnson was 100% of the routes.
Well, it was DeMarcus Robinson and Johnson, right? And then they played all the snaps or most all the snaps with both those guys out.
And then 2-2 started to rotate in once they were down by a billion points.
I did see a 2-2 sighting, yes.
But concern I would have would be they've seemed pretty hesitant to put Whittington in there, despite him basically looking good every time he plays. Like, he was awesome in the preseason. So I wonder if there's a McVay, doesn't understand the offense. Is it run block? Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. So I'm on. The chat is, as always, is wrong. Whittington did not play all the snaps. Johnson did.
Whittington played 13
yes, it's
snaps. Johnson played all but 3 snaps.
Very easy to check these things.
All right. Neighbors, Olave, Godwin, Ayuk. They're all in this 62 to 6,500 range. Tough call
plays.
there.
Good
Pete.
Plays.
Who are you picking if you have to pick one of those guys?
I would like to be a week early on a Chris Olave explosion, right? Like if the Saints are real and they play in one normal game where they're not just salting away a lead, I mean, Olave is still the dude here. Like Rashid Shaheed, like you want to talk about a regression candidate. I'm still pretty into Olave being an alpha in this offense. I think he's going to have a massive game here soon. So that's kind of where I would lean right now when you factor in price and ownership.
Yeah, Olave will probably be the guy I play the most this week. Now, is that even good advice? Is that even like, I mean, he's running all the routes. His targets are fine. He was basically what this far away from a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. With like CD is 8,800, right? Like he is very expensive when there's not a lot of cheap plays out there. You got Tyreek at 8,400. Are those guys in play as leverage plays, seeing that I'm not sure how many people are going to play them? Justin Jefferson, a little bit banged up at 8,600.
No, Justin Jefferson, best player in fantasy football. He's a jam.
People are going to play Jefferson because, like as long as the injury stuff, people are going to be super spooked about Tyreek Hill and rightfully so. Without Skylar Thompson.
If they're spooked about Tyreek, imagine how they're spooked they're going to be about Jalen Waddle, brother.
Oh yeah, no way.
0.8% Jalen Waddle.
No.
Is Devontae Adams a fish play this week? It seems like they're also getting pretty concentrated with their offense.
Yeah, I think everyone
against
Carolina.
Yeah, against Carolina, Bowers and Adams seem like decent plays. Let's go on down the list. Calvin Ridley. I get it. He's 6K though, and he's the only guy that can do anything.
God, Dell really is the guy, isn't he? $5,200 tank
he's
Dell.
A smash.
He's just That might be press the lock button and let whatever happens happen.
He has to end up being like mega. He like, remember the old school Will Fuller like 3 years ago where it was like he didn't do anything, and then he was still 50% in cash despite being a boom bust guy who had failed. But
Christian Kirk, Arizona Cardinals, yeah. Christian Kirk, yeah,
that's gonna be tank.
I don't know about a smash, and I don't know about a cash play for him. They are obviously trying to get him the ball. I think he had like 3 end arounds, right? But there's just a lot of mouths to feed. I think if anything, Diggs is going to start being the squeaky wheel.
All right, there are good people. There are good people on both sides. Deontay Johnson or Xavier Legette.
I
don't have
how much is Deontay Johnson?
49. Legette is 45.
I wouldn't probably go to Legette at that. I mean, how is Legette? Like, I want in on Legette at 3,600 or something. I'm not.
Well, he looked really good in week 1. I don't know. I don't know why he's priced like this, but my take is that Legette looking like a competent NFL wide receiver is really bad for Deontay.
All right.
I think it's good for them, right? Like,
well, it's good, sure. Yeah.
Cheapos.
It's not great.
30. Let me give you an option. He might start popping later on in the week, but this is the first week look show, so he's not popping anything. But Elijah Moore got 8 targets last week, and he's 3,600.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. Like you said, Davis, we don't know what's going on with that offense, but
I think not McMillan, Jalen Tolbert had like a real down the field role last week. I was actually very encouraged by that because that's an element down.
He had 9 targets last week. Of course, you also have to keep in mind game script. They were not running the ball at all. They got behind early.
How about Deuce Vaughn getting like first quarter carries? That was not on my bingo card.
Yeah.
And then maybe at 3,200. Okay, let's just assume AJ Brown's going to play, so I don't have to mention Britton Covey as a cheapo play.
Britton Covey had more receptions last night than his entire 3-year NFL career. I will not be playing Britton Covey.
How about sub 4K Jalen Tolbert, 21% target share, made a sick catch in that game. Should be a decent game environment.
It's my heart out.
Did you not hear Davis just say that player? Pete?
No, I was looking up Jalen Tolbert stats.
And I mentioned also that there was a blowout. And
Tolbert is my cheapie.
Wait, why does it blow? Whatever. Davis, you have to go.
I do have to go.
Yeah.
All
It was
right,
a blow.
Dave and I will handle tight ends.
Yeah, we'll see. Hey, Davis, can you give us your bad play, your Tuttle's terrible take?
Yeah, my Tuttle's terrible take is Jaden Reed, $5,900 Jaden Reed, literally like sub 1%. They didn't use him a ton as a rusher last week, but I'm gonna guess they don't want 36 rushes to Josh Jacobs this week.
Good luck, pal. Gets his Titans defense. All right.
Adios.
See ya.
Peace.
All right. Pete.
Wow. In-game syndicate must be paying him pretty well to go this hard out here.
Might have to renegotiate our contract. Get a little more juice out of that squeeze. Okay. Any other thoughts on receiver, Pete? I just think
I will one
Zay Flowers at 6,800, DJ Moore 66. There's just so many players in that 6 to 7K range.
Yeah. The other semi cheap guy I was going to mention, just if Addison doesn't play again, Jalen Naylor at 4.4K if you're doing stuff with Darnold.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to tight end.
All right. Putting the show on our back, Kitchen.
We got McBride as the highest priced guy. Bowers 5,400. 9 targets, 9 receptions against Carolina.
I don't think at this point, I don't think there's a single Bowers skeptic. He has to be one of the most owned tight ends this week, right? At 54.
Again, it just depends on your roster construction. Like, people want to save at tight end. Like, they're going to be looking at Parkinson again, even though he kind of burnt everybody last week. They're going to be looking at even Andrews as a cheapie. These guys, Freiermuth, like, they're still going to be looking to save money. So I'm not sure if he's going to be a jam for people because there's not a lot of value out there.
That would be nice if that was the case, because I do think aren't we just headed to where he's a 5'9", 6K, 6.1 regular every week guy here soon?
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's already kind of getting up there, 5.4.
Right. To me, this feels like the last week he's priced like this.
Yeah.
What about it was funny, Schoonmaker last week, like barely played,
he got lucky, right? Like he just crushed. And again, I do think you have to take into consideration as a blowout from the get-go. They just were not running the ball at all. It was all passing because the Saints could not stop scoring.
Yeah.
Andrews at 4,800. What was the deal on Parkinson?
Let me.
It would have seemed like if you did not have Kupp, was that also a blowout situation where he didn't really play the fourth quarter because they were down 4 touchdowns?
So he still ran 78% of the routes, just had only 8% of the targets. I do wonder if maybe he's the kind of guy that's like more a beneficiary of when you have everyone, as opposed to like, oh shit, now Colby Parkinson needs to be the focal point. Yeah.
Or maybe everyone's going to be off of him and we can go back to the well there.
Well, that's why tight end is so funny, right? Because if you just were to hand build, like, you're not going back to Jordan Akins. You're not going back to like probably wanting to go back to Schoonmaker, all these, but then you're going to run the optimals and the sims and they're going to be like, still punt it off at tight end. Like,
you're right.
I mean, there were people winning tournaments with, 3-point scores, 4-point scores at tight end because it just, it doesn't matter in the 9 salary cap format.
Yeah. All right. Last one before we move on. George Kittle without Debo.
Yeah.
Obviously without C-Mac. He's 5,700. Just feels like potentially a decent play this week.
Yeah, unless he needs to get, carted off to the locker room to like drink his Capri Suns again. Did you? I was so scared when that happened. They did the carted off.
Well, you get the alerts. You get the alerts, and he's saying he's carted off to the locker room.
Yeah.
Then that just means, okay, well, something bad has. When you see someone carted off to the locker room, you immediately think lower leg injury, done, right? So yeah, that was
especially when you're not watching
the game, yeah, and you didn't even see kind of what's happening, and all of a sudden you're looking up there like, what is going on? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, no, I think Kittle is I mean, the ceiling is insane. It's really interesting up there because you get McBride and Laporte in the best game of the week. You get Kittle without Debo and CMC in an awesome spot. We just mentioned Bowers. You can go to Mark Andrews being underpriced. Like the top end of tight end is very, very intriguing. My guess is people just don't get up to McBride and Laporta because that price is so prohibitive.
Yeah, boy, man. Dallas Goedert at 4,600. If this game is a shootout, obviously in a dome,
I don't know, man. 4 targets last week. They're using Grant Calcaterra. Doesn't seem great.
Yeah, but then they count on Goddard at the end. Like maybe they're just gonna be like, hey, you know what, guys? Enough of this. Let's use our guy who got us here, Dallas Goedert. I still think this is a Hurts smash week though. But maybe
I'd rather play likely than Goddard.
I'd
rather play likely than Goddard. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Pete, who is your terrible take of the week?
I know. I need a good.
You're the one who suggested this.
I know it was my idea. Give yours and then I'm going to give mine. I got a good one. I actually got a good one.
Okay.
What's up, Al? Here it is. No one is going to want to use this guy at running back. He's 5.5K. He now gets the juiciest matchup in the league. All you do is beat up on the Carolina run defense. Samir White. Terrible take.
Ooh.
Pretty terrible, huh?
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, getting cut at the goal line by Alexander Madison. No one wants it. But the
really bad.
Suck. Yeah.
All right. Is George Pickens a terrible take given this offense and team total?
I think so, but I'm gonna allow it. He looked awesome last week against Surtain.
Yeah, and he's had a few. Like I just think no one's really targeting him. So you got all these smash plays around him in that range. So give me George Pickens as that guy. All right. Shout out to Smiz, one of the.
For the audio listeners, we're getting Shane Gillis, David Kitchen comps in his new look here, which it's actually a pretty good comp.
Gillis grows it out a little further than I do, but I mean, both hilarious guys. So, all right, Pete, where can we find your stuff?
All around.
Yeah,
all around. You use promo code Davis when you sign up on Underdog.
No, don't. Okay. All right. That will do it for the show. Listen, just make sure you support the show. You support the show by liking and subscribing and also checking out our partners, right? Splash Sports. Davis is going to drive that state line, and Davis also wants some Taylor Swift ticks. So you can go back and replay that video for all the details there and the link in the description. Shout out to everybody still with us. 11 years strong. Every week is just amazing. Appreciate you all. Appreciate Sosa for producing the show. And have a great week 3. Have a great week 3, and we'll see you back week 4 here on the Swolecast on RotoGrinders.com. Peace.
Free tunnel. Free time.